That's correct, Stephen. And it's not just about tightening the systems, it's also really about tightening technology, but also putting in a lot more punitive measures for those from the department side and even candidates that are involved in this latest leak. Well, we heard from the minister and also the detailed report from the independent NITT. This was, of course, the task team that was put to task essentially to investigate this leak. And in the very beginning, we heard that they had three main questions. Who is the source of the leak? What is the source of the leak? And who are the candidates involved? And they were able to detail in this report exactly what had transpired. And we understood that it was an official from the Department of Basic Education in this very building that we are here at in Pretoria who was involved in this leak, managed, of course, to take some of these papers for her son. This was, of course, perhaps maybe in an attempt to assist him through these exam papers. But what had happened afterwards was that the papers managed to leak to several other candidates. Initially, back in December, you'd remember the minister announced that it was 26 pupils that were involved. Well, following investigations and thorough investigations, they were able to detect 40 candidates that were involved in this across 8 schools in Pretoria. But I'm going to speak now to the minister just to give us a little bit more clarity on the investigation and perhaps maybe even her reaction to what has been quite a thorough investigation. I mean, to the point where it went down to be able to show how these papers were moving around from WhatsApps to USBs, at some point even using artificial intelligence to change some of the formation of those papers.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, every system, the strength of any system is in its ability to be able to detect where there are problems and to be able to self-correct. And that, for me, is one of the things. I think the greatest untold story here is that this is a strength of our markers. Our markers are our first line of defense, and the fact that they were able to detect these anomalies is the reason why we were able to detect this very issue. And that's why we were able to actually investigate and see that the leak had come from the DBE. It's deeply disappointing because, of course, what it does is that it starts to cast a shadow of doubt on the credibility of the NSC certificate. There are over 900,000 learners who sat for these exams, and 40 learners are now implicated. But at the end of the day, there are hundreds of thousands of innocent learners who sat for these exams and are looking forward to receiving their results. But we are acting quite harshly. As indicated, the 2 implicated officials have already been suspended. We are continuing with our investigation. There's a forensic investigation now ongoing into people's devices, bank accounts, and the like, because, of course, we would like to build a case where people can be prosecuted. And so the other thing is that learners who are above the age of 18, we are looking at criminal charges against them, and those who are under the age of 18, there are specific sanctions, including the fact that one can be barred from writing these exams for 3 exam cycles. So these are serious consequences, and the idea here is not to destroy a child's life, but to say this is a deterrent, that learners should not cheat in these exams, and that really hard work and is the only way to get through them.
And Minister, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit because it was in the detailing of the findings of the report where we heard from the 2 experts that were involved in this, whether it was from the findings but also the recommendations themselves, where they mentioned the fact that the assistance of adults in situations like this and the damage that this could have had it not been a localized incident also really does speak to somewhat of a moral decay when it comes to perhaps maybe the credibility and what these exams should really mean.
Absolutely. I mean, we are glad that it is localized in 8 schools in the Tshwane region. And as you heard from the NITT chair and the deputy, they were thorough in making sure, in looking at the entire country to make sure that this didn't spread further. And of course, in the era of social media, I mean, this could have easily been an entirely blown situation that could have really, really threatened the integrity of these exams. It is, for me, personally disappointing that a parent would do this. It really is disappointing. because I would think that a parent would want to encourage their child to study further. But any system that has human interaction will always have flaws, and that is why we've taken the recommendations of the NITT and we've said we're going to strengthen our systems, whether it's technology, whether it's login details, whether it's encrypted data, exchanging things. There are certain things in government that ought to keep up with the times of technology, end-to-end encryption, all of those things. These are technologies that are available to us and we should be using them, and perhaps abandoning certain things like using removable media such as USBs to transfer information. Those things are all the things that we are going to now be embarking on to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And again, if it happens, we must make sure that we fix the system and fortify it.
And as you've said, this is just the four that have unfortunately cast a bit of a cloud over this time. But Monday, it's the big day. The results are coming in. I know it's a bit too early to ask, but your anticipation, and I think perhaps maybe the stamina, and if you could in some way, without revealing, of course, the pass rate, but the efforts of the class of 2025.
I really want to congratulate the class of 2025. They've made the country proud. I'm certainly proud to lead the sector. They've worked hard, and we've seen, look, the sector has been besieged with financial difficulties, and so it becomes more and more difficult for us to do our core business. And so we will see on Monday how they have performed, and I look forward to receiving our top achievers, really celebrating with them. This is a massive milestone. And of course, we will be able to see how well they've performed on Monday night.
All right. Well, we'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much. Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwarube speaking about, of course, the National Senior Certificate exams. But speaking, of course, about the anticipation for Monday, Stephen, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done from the department side in releasing those results, some of the top achievers as well. But really what was coming out of this briefing, and you could tell as well, there was quite an urgency to get this briefing out there and to clear the air in regards to this breach that happened within the Department of Basic Education that really had the potential, Stephen, to compromise the NSC, to compromise the work of thousands of individuals because of the decisions of about 40 individual candidates as well as a parent and those who aided and assisted from the department in that regard. Well, 2 officials suspended. You heard as well from the minister that there's a potential as well to get these criminal charges involved, particularly that there are some students from those 40, that cohort of 40 that are actually over the age of 18. So they could also possibly face criminal charges. But for now, Stephen, back to you.